not know everything.
Yeah, he knows all true propositions.
He can't not know.
What's that?
He can't not know everything. He absolutely knows everything.
Yeah, he knows all true propositions and doesn't know any false ones.
Okay, so he's got, in the knowledge of Allah,
Yeah.
he knows before he makes creation, he knows all of the possibilities of creation.
Yeah.
And then he chooses the creation that is actually made, and that is, of course, the will of Allah. So we're 100% agreement so far. And when he chooses, he can't choose like their variables. He chooses in the same way as the snooker table argument. He initiates reality, knowing everything that will happen.
Well, yeah, he knows what's going to happen.
So like through time, after time, hell, heaven, all of those things, he knows what's going to happen, and he could have chosen a slightly different reality where slightly different things happen.
Could he?
Well, it's in his power because he's all powerful.
Yeah, but do you believe that?
If you've got an all-powerful, all-knowing being, then...
So you're granting that he could? He could have?
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead. Keep going.
Do you agree?
Yeah.
So he could have chosen. So everything that is chosen, everything that's experienced in this world is the choice of Allah. It's all the will of Allah.
Yeah, in the sense that he willed it from the beginning, yes.
He willed every thought that we had.
Yeah, but those thoughts, okay, finish your argument, because I don't want to straw man you, so make your point. What's your point?
We don't have to be facetious about it.
Yeah.
You know, I'd hope you wouldn't want to straw man my argument. I think it's
I know, but you accused me of that, and I didn't straw man you. I think you misunderstood me.
Well, maybe I did. Maybe I did. Probably did. So where in this choice where you had this in one universe where you just sipped coffee and another universe where Allah said, I'm going to have Jake not sip that coffee at that time, it's all absolutely determined by Allah. Now I know that, so explain to me, how can God, and we won't be talking about from a reference to authority of the Quran or the Hadith, yeah? But just on a philosophical basis, how can God, how can we have any free will when all is determined in that way?
I couldn't hear the last part.
How can we have any free will when we're all determined, when God has determined every little thing, every thought, everything that has come?
He hasn't.
He hasn't.
No,
So explain to me.
He hasn't determined the possibilities.
Explain to me.
God couldn't make it so that there's a possible world in which you have a married bachelor.
Okay, so
everything that's logically possible.
All possible worlds.
All logically possible worlds. He doesn't have a choice of that.
Drinking tea.
What's that?
There was a choice where there's a possible world where you weren't.
Yeah, but
drinking
if in each world I'm free, what's the problem?
So what I'm saying is that in that all-knowledgeable, all-powerful state, before he, in metaphorical terms, presses the button on reality, that instigates the creation.
Yes.
Now I know the Islamic position that God gives people free choice, free will, in a compatibilist way. There are certain things that have to happen. Yeah. There are certain things that have to happen, like the events of the Quran.
Well, yeah. Once God chooses, once He pushes the button, as you said, that's what's going to happen.
Yeah. So where's the free will?
Before that, because the possibilities, you're saying that those possibilities, He's determining those possibilities. He doesn't determine those possibilities. Any possibilities.
Well, he like if you
you're assuming that once He presses the button, you're therefore back projecting it to the point before He pressed the button.
Yeah.
And you are saying exactly, but what's your evidence?
No.
You're saying that the possibilities aren't genuinely ours. You're saying that He determined the possibilities and then determined which possibility He would select. That's your argument.
It's in his.
That's an assumption.
It's in his knowledge, all possible worlds.
But what are the possibilities based on?
All possible variables.
Does he choose them? Does he have the choice to say what's possible and what's not possible?
Absolutely.
How?
Because he's all powerful.
Okay, so he can choose that it's possible for a married bachelor to exist.
No, I said all possible worlds.
Okay, so exactly
You
what
said,
determines what is possible and not?
God, the all-powerful God.
Okay, so could he determine that a world in which you have a married bachelor is possible?
I don't see where
Because I'm trying to explain to you that God is not the one that's determining the possibilities.
Well, be explicit.
I just explained it to you.
No. You're saying that God can't make logical fallacies in His creation. Is that what you're saying?
He can't make something impossible possible. That means that He is not the one who is determining what is possible. The possibilities are there.
But that's kind of by the by.
It's not. That's the whole point.
No. If we agree, I don't quite understand. If we take out of the picture the impossibles, we're only looking at the possible.
We're asking, how is that done? How does that happen?
But no, I wasn't asking that.
That is, because we're talking about possibility versus impossibility. And what you're doing is you're moving from possibility to necessity.
No. We're not talking about impossibility. We're just talking about all possible worlds. In the knowledge of God.
I'm trying to get down to what determines them to be possible. You're saying it's God. I'm saying it's not God. What's your evidence that God determines the possibilities?
Because we agreed that all possible possibilities are in the knowledge of Allah, whether they happened or they didn't.
But did He determine them?
Does God determine everything?
Does He determine those possibilities?
Does He determine everything?
I'm telling you, I just answered you. I told you no. How?
That's God.
How?
All powerful. He determines everything.
So He determines what's possible and what's impossible. That's what you're claiming.
No. You're moving from this possible, impossible. Yeah. I'm just narrowing it down for the sake of argument into all possibilities, not the impossibilities.
Yeah, but you're saying, okay, is there a limit to possibilities?
I couldn't answer that. I'd say no.
If it's unlimited, then how do you say that certain things are impossible?
I didn't say certain things are impossible for you to.
Okay. Is it impossible for a married bachelor to exist?
Well, these are logical rules, right?
Is it impossible for a married bachelor? Yeah.
I mean, basically, you could say that somebody is a bachelor and they've got an illegal marriage or a marriage that didn't, in one state. This. I don't think it's a good example.
No, it is a good example.
But what you're talking about.
What does bachelor mean?
I just feel. No, wait. I think you're obfuscating the point.
No, I'm not. I'm making a very specific point.
No. But I'm trying to derive something. And what I don't understand is where we've gone on.
You said, okay, we got down here.
I'm interested.
I'm trying to understand. I'm trying to understand how you determine what's possible and what's not.
What do you mean?
How do you know what's possible and what's impossible?
Because I'm talking about.
Because you said possibilities are unlimited. There's no limit to them. So then everything is possible.
There's different types of infinity.
All right.
There's different types of infinity.
I don't think we're getting anywhere, John.
No. You've got like an infinite possibility.
Nothing's impossible.
Excuse me. You've got an infinite number of possibilities.
So it's unlimited.
Wait. You've got an infinite number of possibilities. You've also got an infinite number of impossibilities. You've got two infinites.
Okay, are they limited?
What?
Those two infinities.
If they're infinite, are they limited?
Yeah, I'm asking you.
Well, they're different kind of subsets, but I don't want to get into. I'm not qualified to talk about the natures of different infinities. But what I'm saying is these are
we're talking
issues.
about the nature of possibility and impossibility. That's what we're talking about.
No, I don't think that's what we're talking about.
That is what we're talking about. That's exactly what we're talking about, John. Because what you're saying is all those possibilities before God pressed the button. You're making the claim that He determined those possibilities. I'm trying to ask you questions.
I didn't say that.
Yes, you did.
I said it's in His knowledge.
You did. You said that. You said that He determined it.
What, are you going to hate me now? I'm completely new.
No. But you may have missed what I said, so it doesn't mean.
I asked you if He determined them, and you said, "Yeah, He does. Doesn't He determine everything?" That's exactly what you said.
Well, I believe that, but
why?
But wait. I'm saying that it's in all the possibilities are in his knowledge. That's
John, okay, John, the reason why I'm asking you is because you just asked that, and then I responded by asking you why. My line of questioning is trying to get you to think about why you believe that, because your entire argument is based on the assumption that God determines all of the possibilities.
I went through an argument with you, and you agreed with the points that I made.
Come on, John. We're at the point where we're at the very crux of the issue, and you don't have an answer to it.
I genuinely don't understand what
I think you do.
Well,
I think you do understand.
I genuinely don't understand what you've moved this argument to. So I genuinely don't understand that, because you were talking about that.
The idea is this: you're saying that we're not free because any possibility, anything that could happen, God determines those possibilities. That's your argument. No, not only this reality, any other world that could have been, he also determined that. That's your claim. Your assumption.
Claim that.
Yes, you did.
No, I didn't claim
I asked you that. Okay, so let's make this clear.
I said it's in his
Did
knowledge.
God? No, I asked you if he determined it, and you said yes, he determines everything. So let's go back to this. Does God determine what's possible and what's not?
Answer the question. You can answer the question. You tell me.
What's your answer? No, because I'm trying to say your entire argument rests on the assumption that he has to determine them, but you can't prove it.
My argument. Let's just come back to my argument. Is that all possibility? You kept saying, well, what about the married bachelor? I'm talking about all possibilities are in the knowledge of Allah.
Yes.
And he chooses out of those this reality.
Did he choose the possibilities to begin with? The set of possibilities, did he determine them to be that way?
I don't know if I can answer that question. I don't understand.
Exactly, and I'm saying your entire argument rests on the assumption that he had to determine them. Because if he didn't determine them, then in those possibilities we are free, and then he chooses the world in which we're free. So your assumption is that he determined all of those possibilities. Otherwise, if you don't know, or he didn't, your entire argument goes by the wayside. You have to make the claim that God determines every possibility. You have to make that claim for your argument to stand.
Are you talking about in his knowledge or in reality?
We're talking about the point before he pressed the big red button, like you said. He knew those possibilities.
He knew, yeah.
Did he have a choice which one of those possibilities existed? That set of possibilities. That set of I told you already my answer. That set of possibilities.
Yes. Yeah.
Did God have a choice over those possibilities, what was possible and what wasn't?
He may, I would imagine that he established a set of logical rules to determine.
So you think that God had a choice over the law of non-contradiction?
What I'm saying is that this is a little jump that I'm not sure
it's
you're going.
entirely relevant.
I'm not talking about
John. Everybody else understands my point, so maybe it's just you don't understand me.
Well, that's what we're discussing.
No, I think if you don't understand me, I've explained it.
That I don't know.
I've explained it 3 different ways. I can't explain it any different for you.
I don't mean to.
I'm not trying to be rude, but
did he understand all the possibilities that he had, and he chose one? That's what he's asking.
That's what I'm.
But did he choose? Did he choose those possibilities? You're saying you don't know, and I'm saying if you don't know, your entire argument assumes that he had to have determined those possibilities. Because if he didn't, then those possibilities are not his choice, which means they're our choice, and we're free.
That's a jump.
No.
Walk me through it. I'm interested in. Because you're asking me questions that I can't actually answer.
Okay, so then what are we supposed to do?
Well, but you have a belief about them, so you can explain them from your perspective.
I did. I just explained it to you.
So, but you explain it, but it's mixing with questions around it. Yeah. So what?
Because I'm trying to get you to understand. Yeah, I'm asking you a question.
I would rather, instead of trying to get me to understand, why not just explain your position?
I did.
In the same
I
way
explained it to you. Just as you said, we have the possibilities.
Yeah.
Those possibilities, God doesn't determine those possibilities.
How do you mean he doesn't determine them?
Meaning he doesn't have the choice for a married bachelor to exist or not.
Oh, okay. So this is where we were changing. I was saying out of all actual possibilities.
But we're trying to determine what actually determines the actual possibilities. That's the whole point.
The ones that are not impossible.
Why are they impossible?
Because they're logical fallacies or whatever.
Okay, does God have a choice over logical fallacies?
I can't. I don't know.
You don't know. You don't know.
So what you basically, we've got two subsets. And this is where I think that I'm getting confused with what you're saying. We've got two subsets: the impossible and the possible. I was discarding the impossible because that's.
But the question is, so what is the nature of possibility and impossibility? That's the question.
No, that's the question you keep asking. That's
okay,
not the question
so then
that
I
I'm
can say this to
addressing.
you, John.
Yeah.
I'm both determined and yet free.
Some people would say compatibilism is the nature of Islam.
It's a contradiction. Can I accept it?
People do.
Okay, so what's the difference?
Well,
in other words,
you keep jumping.
You say. No, I'm trying to make a point.
No,
I'm trying to make a point.
Philosophical argument, right?
Of course, this is a philosophical discussion.
But you're moving away from the actual discussion.
No, I'm not. No, I'm not. I'm taking you to the very basics of the discussion, showing you that your entire argument is based on an assumption which you can't actually prove. And then when I bring you to that point, you say you don't know.
But because I'm saying that we're looking at all the possibilities, and you keep comparing it to the impossibilities.
Yeah, I don't think we're getting anywhere, man.
Well, what can I say? You agreed with the steps that I'd taken, but then you were taking into these issues of non-logical kind of fundamentals, and that's fine too.
Yeah.
But it obfuscates the point.
Okay.
It obfuscates.
Do you want to make a final statement? Because I do have to talk to somebody else.
Fine. It obfuscates the point that out of all possible worlds, out of all possible thoughts that you have, choices that you make, God is choosing that when he presses that metaphorical button, he chooses everything that happens to you, and that it isn't free will. He chooses that he knows what's going to happen, obviously, and he's chosen he chooses a set of results. It's like he's going to Manchester, and he takes the M1 and the M4 or whatever. He chooses the route that we take, and that is bound by that route, and that is his choice. The issue about bringing the impossibilities in is, I think, moot and by the by. He's choosing out of all possibilities, and there is no will other than Allah's will in that choice, and everything is ultimately the will of Allah. And
I'm saying, so this is my statement, that we go back to the point before he pushed the red button, so to speak, and you have a realm of possibilities. Those possibilities, God is not determining those possibilities. So within that range of possibilities, if there are possible worlds in which there are free creatures that exist, God can select one of those worlds, and this could be that world.
But even within that choice, within that free world, he still is going to know which reality.
Yeah, but now you're moving from. Now you're moving from determination to knowledge. Those are two different issues.
No, I understand. That's what we were more talking about: determination and knowledge.
Exactly, but now you're moving to knowledge.
All you've done is chosen this kind of notional world where people have free will.
Exactly. My point is you have to assume that that's impossible, that there is a world in which God can create free creatures. You have to assume that that's not possible.
Okay, that's a bit more to the point.
Exactly. You have to assume that that's not possible, and I'm saying it's based on an assumption. You don't have an argument to say that there's not a possible world in which free creatures exist besides God.
Right, so that will come back to my broader argument about this world, about the fact...
Exactly, that's why we started off here.
Of that is that actually there is no evidence of absolute free will, that we're all conditioned in our choices and our beliefs, and we can't demonstrate that immediate change in our beliefs. And so even in your possible argument on this free world, I don't think this is a free world. And not only do I not think that, the whole of the universal law is such based on that.
What do you mean universal law? Sorry.
The name of Hinduism. The true
Are you a Hindu?
No. The name of Hinduism.
What's your position? I'm just curious. You're an atheist?
I'm a non-dualist.
Are you an atheist?
I'm a non-dualist.